G'day, I'm Steve Hay. Welcome to the wonderful world of woodworking for Carbatec. I've just got to get some things sorted and we'll be into it. As you can tell, workshop's the same as it normally is, quite a mess. But I've just finished doing this some videos on the Robert Sorby artist pyrography machine. That's why this stuff's all around here. But everything is good. Let me just see what's happening here, if we've got things happening or not happening. Hopefully we're going to have a better connection than we had last time, which through no fault of our own, unfortunately, it decided it wasn't going to supply me with the right amount of internet speed. And there you go. Now I've got feedback on that, but that's all right. That's happening. Everything's good. All right. Let me just pop the chat out and we can be away. Hope everyone's had a good week. G'day, Mini Knots. How you going? No good for fishing, I suppose. Did you get much of that storm last night? That was a bit hairy, so they tell me. Oh dear, let me just find my bench. I've been down here for 2.5 hours and my mind goes, I think I'll do that. No, that's better. No, this is good. So what I'd actually thought I was going to do today, I'm not going to do today. I'm going to do something different. And then the thing I was going to do that was different, I've changed, and I have found a new way of doing something. So I'll share that with you as soon as I can find, where'd my glove go? Goodness gracious. There we go, it's most likely down here. That in there. Oh dear. Michael, good morning. How are you? Thanks for dropping into the chat room. Oh. There we go. Oh, I put that over there, didn't I? Good on me. Oh, okay. I'm going to show you about these in a minute. It's a new brand that Carbatec are bringing in for carving chisels. More, I don't know if they're doing full range of carving chisels. This roll I've got here is basically for spoon carving. Can't wait to learn from you today. I can't wait to see what I'm going to do. Thanks, Michael. Oh dear. And I'll share with you some things I've found. We might do a quick project on with a carving knife as well. There you go. I'm easily sidetracked. That's the word, sidetracked. Let me just get these nails off here. These nails, I think they've just put the video up. Robert Sorby Pyrography 6 of 6. And these nails I've got on my bench are what I use to make some little custom made, burning bits for the pyrography. So if you'd like to check that out, that's online there. And there is, which one are we on? I'm looking at the wrong one. There you go. That's the machine I was using. I bought that one for my son. And, oh look, while we're here, I might as well show you. And just in case you don't watch the thing, here we go. The side benefit of it is really quite neat. Because pyrography, as you know, it can be an art form within itself, and it can be used for embellishing boxes or coasters or bowls, furniture, whatever you like. But we found another use for it as well, which my wife was very happy about. So if you have a pyrography machine, or if you're thinking of buying one, here is an added bonus that you might be able to, you never know, you might be able to share the cost of it. I'll put it on and I'll turn that on there. That's on. You only have it on about 3, and you have a standard tip. So that's the, where are we on? Is it going to focus? Focus. I'm just trying to get that camera to focus, and it's not. So I'll use this. It's a zoom. Oh, I bet we put it on focus. That might help. It's not going to help, is it? There you go. That's the standard tip. And that's all we're using. And what it is, my wife does a lot of embroidery and applique work. These are some of the things she makes, and then they go into quilts. But you see all this white around here? When it gets sewn on, that white sort of stays. That's as close as she can cut with a pair of scissors. But, with this, look at that. With this, look what you can do. Is it turned on? Yep. Put some heat into it. Whoops, let me just. Is it going to be hot enough or not? There you go. So what you can do, we'll take, okay, this bit around here. This is on a setting of 3, and you gently, it's very hard to do this upside down, you gently rub it over the stitching and what it does, it gets rid of all those unsightly, raggedy bits that were there before. And it cleans it up. That's got absolutely nothing to do with the stream, but it was a video I was doing earlier on, and I thought I'd share that with you. So even though I bought that machine for my son, the wife uses it more than my son does. All right, what are we going to do? Let's just have a look at these knives first. They are lovely. Excuse me, I've just got to push this down a bit, or bring it up, or do something with it. Wait a minute. There we go. How's that? That's better. I don't know if it is. It might have cut my head off. No, a bit too close. Hang on. Back on the tick. That's better. So I know if I can see the top of my plane, you can see my head. That's good. Okay. Oh. Okie dokie. So, as I said, I was in Carbatec earlier this week. Can't wait to the hi Steve, good to see you streaming. Yeah, g'day Ben. Yeah, look, lots happening, which I'll share on one of my streams, which is all good. It's all good, but it's different. So I've been tied up, but good people at Carbatec wanted me to do this stream at the beginning of the month. So here I am. So thanks, Ben. You buy 1mm wire for your woodwork. Well, according to the manual, which I had here somewhere, they give you the maximum and minimums. And let me find out. Yep, there you go. That's the sizes they recommend for that particular machine. And they also say in here, important, fuse wire, paper clips or other wire other than the special nichrome wire we supply must never be used or the power unit will burn out. It will and we will charge for repairs the unit damaged by an overload. So they do give you a little roll of wire, which I did have here, which is quite enough to make a few different, nope, can't see it, a few different projects and individual wires. For, I don't know what it costs for the extra wire, but to be safe, use what they recommend. That's what I think, because they made it, so there you go. G'day, Chad. You can burn on wood. Yeah, canvas and some paper. Yep. G'day, Derek. Try a shaded nib. Yeah, they do give you a variety of nibs. I mainly used the first nib they gave you, and then I made one that didn't turn out, but still gave a really cool pattern, so we stuck with that. And then I made a coil one. Then I made some letters. I made an S, and I made a W and an M. Where was oh, yeah, that was the culmination in the sixth one, what we ended up doing. So that was done with the one supplied. That was done with the coil that we made, and that was done with an M that we made. So you can have a lot of fun with them, that's for sure. All right, these. So I said I was in the other day, and what I normally use, this is my go-to knife and has been for many, many years, but they haven't made them for many, many years. It's a Stanley 10109, but they don't make them anymore, which is sad. The other knife I love using for whittling and what have you are the Moray knives, particularly the 109 and the 105. I think I use this one more than anything else. But when I saw these, I thought, oh, that's nice. Well, we'll have a look. So let's have the reveal, as Scotty Cam would say. Okay, here we go. That's it there. And the steel is absolutely superb. This was a sample pack that they got sent so they could work out what handle they wanted, because each handle has a different profile on it. And I think the handle they're going to go with, I think, I could be wrong, but I think that's the handle they're going to go with. But notwithstanding, that's obviously for carving out, you know, the bold part of the spoon. So, before you do that, I do strongly suggest you get one of these. It's a Kevlar glove, and what it does, it stops you from getting cut. Not that I advocate it, but yeah, if you slip and you go like that, it won't cut your fingers. However, and I caution you, these are cut proof, which means you don't cut your skin, but they are not stab proof. So if you're doing something and you slip and the point goes in, you will feel it. So just be mindful of that. I'll give you some basic cuts. If you're going to do whittling or what have you, you've got, this is the one I'm going to warn you against. It's called a sweep cut, and it's like that. You actually sweep, you start here and then you sweep up. Also called a thumb cut, because you can do that. But if you look where that knife is and you actually have a look at my thumb, you will see another reason it's called a thumb cut is because you're going to cut your thumb. So I would caution against coming towards you unless you feel very comfortable with it. I was playing with it quite a bit yesterday, and I found with the knife blade going away from myself, it was a lot nicer. So that's a sweep cut. Another cut, I'm sure that it's all been covered in Olivia's channel, but that's a sweep cut. Another cut you use a lot is a V cut, which is, this is when you're whittling. So you cut down there. Now you can do that, or turn it around and come in this way. That's the cut you use a lot when you want shadow. See the shadow on the top, but it's not on the bottom. And then there's another one called a stop cut, which if you're doing figurines and that under the nose, so you cut in there and then you cut up to where you cut. So the cut won't go any further because it's got a stop in it. That's also one you use for shading. And there's another one I'm not real good at, but it's called the pyramid cut. And I'm trying not to do that. So you come in here, and then you come in here, and then you come in and you take that out, and then you've got a deep pyramid. If you're doing figurines, it was my intention to do a wizard today, but I didn't have time to get prepared. But those four cuts, if you can master those, your whittling and wood carving will go through the roof. What I thought, we could do a real quick one if you like. What have we got here? G'day, Trevor! How are you, mate? What I've got, I'm going to make a book buddy. Have I got a book around here? That'd be the question, wouldn't it? Most likely. Oh, yeah, that'll do. Okay, grab a piece of 1 inch timber. Then we'll get into the marquetry. Grab a piece of 1 inch square timber. I've got this about 5 inches long. You could have it 4 inches long, it doesn't matter. These have done their rounds on Pinterest and Facebook and YouTube. But I was just whittling away last night and I thought, oh, I might do one of those. It's a fun thing. Kids could make it. You could make it, you know, for somebody as a present. They do make quite a unique gift. So what you do is whatever size thumb the person has, you've got to make a hole so their thumb will nicely rest in there. Okay, I've got big thumb, so you might need a smaller one than that, but just so it rests in. And then I'm going to go over to the bandsaw and I'm going to rip this at about 15 mil or something, so I haven't got a camera over there. You just have to trust me. There we go, that'll do. That's pretty close. Actually, we'll go in half. That way we could make two if we wanted to. There we go. So I've got two bits of wood now. One in case I stuff it up, or if it works, then I can make two. Okie dokie. And then with a pencil, just draw a line. It doesn't have to be precise. It doesn't really matter. But it's not a bad way to practice those cuts that I just mentioned. And I don't think that hole was totally in the middle. So it's going to be fairly rough enough. Okay, now all you do is, and I like this knife, I really do. I'll see if I can get a picture in picture. Wait a minute, how do I do it? Am I in? No, on. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. I'll go down there. All right. So with this knife, I like this size. This one's a really, really nice size for getting into big. Actually, we might start with this one. There you go. Then we can move on. So My temptation is to do that, but after cutting myself I won't. So you can practice your sweep cut. And the idea is to roll it over. See if you can keep that centre line here that you're cutting in the centre. I'm just laughing to myself. I think I should be doing a starburst, but it doesn't. No, sunburst, sorry. Okay, so we've nearly come down there. And I always reckon it's easier to put a glove on than a Band-Aid. I should be sitting down. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I should be sitting down. Okay, there, I could feel the grain wanting to run right down here. So that's a great opportunity to do a V-cut and come the other way. That way, eliminated a problem. Yeah, I'm going to have to do it this way, but I'm not going to have my... I'm going to be very, very mindful my thumb is there. Obviously I'm rushing this, but if you take your time, you can get it a lot smoother. Okay, other side. I just found that I love sitting down, grabbing a bit of timber and just whittling it. I remember in the very early stages my grandsons used to come down and I bought them pocket knife each and we'd sit down in the backyard and whittle. And Anthony used to love getting a stick and making it sharp, and then when it was sharp he'd stab me with it and say, "Is that sharp?" Okay, careful, going this way. I'm not going all the way down, I'm just a little bit. But be very mindful. I'm going to change to a smaller knife soon. Again, see if you can keep that in the centre still. Yeah, that's the Band-Aid comment I guess you're talking about, less painful, Trevor. You are so right. It still stings. Okay, now I'm just going to get a measurement on that. That's just under 55, that's just under 55, so just cut that bit off there. And I haven't touched these knives. This is how they came, and I dare say they'd been used a bit before I got them. So they come with a nice edge on them. I'm going to change over to the smaller one now. I'm not a spoon carver by any means, but I have used different spoon carving tools, and quite quite frankly, these are the sharpest ones I've had straight out of the box. So I'm not sure exactly when they're coming on line, but I would imagine it'd be soon. And I told you that wasn't stab proof. It's not. I just stabbed myself in the thumb. I'm rushing this now because I want to get onto Marquetry. Okay. This is the sort of thing, if you're sitting there watching the chooks or wherever you're sitting, whatever you contemplate, it's the sort of thing you can just refine and potter away at until you're really happy with it. To me, it looks like a tap wrench. You can see how fine a shaving you can take off that. The best timbers I've found to do whittling with, if you've got a choice, obviously basswood, which we don't really get in Australia, but when I was in Carbatec last week, I did notice they had some jelly-tong there, which is absolutely gorgeous. Majority of rocking horses are made out of, or the dearer ones, are made out of jelly-tong. I believe it's an Indonesian timber, but carves beautifully well. The closest we have to it here in Australia would be White Beech. Kew Pine's pretty good. But what you want a fairly soft, not pine will break your heart, a fairly soft timber with straight grain that's not going to go too cranky on you. Look, that's close enough for what I want for the moment. So what you do with that, if I can, oh look at that, I do have a book down here. Here you go. Robert Pretziel's His Life and Work. Brilliant. If you like carving, this guy is just stunning work. But the reason you make that is if you're reading the paperback, see how you're reading something that keeps doing that? If you've got this on your thumb, that's what you do. You can just read it like that, and it doesn't keep on. If you didn't have that, it keeps closing on you, which is annoying. But if you have that, there are various names, I call them book buddies, but very, very easy to make, fun to make. And it was a good little journey with those knives. So keep your eye out for those. Stryi should be there very soon. This, out of the lot, that's my favourite. In fact, I think I'll keep that one out and I'll do some marquetry with that one. There you go. So not only is it going to be a carving knife, we'll use it as a marquetry knife. Now, I don't know how many years I have been doing sunbursts, but it's got to be well over, I reckon it'd be over 30 years I've been doing sunbursts. And I have been doing them the same way that I was taught. And then the other day it occurred to me, why do I make it so hard on myself? Why don't I do it a bit easier? Brenda! G'day, how are you? I'm sorry, I noticed I've got an email from you, Brenda, my dear. I apologise for not getting back to you, but things have been a little bit chaotic, which I will go into in one of my streams. But thank you, and I will get back to you. Someone else sent me one too. I haven't answered. And I know you think, oh, it shouldn't be that hard to answer an email. It gets a little bit that way. In fact, I haven't had the computer on for about a week, but not a problem. So thank you, Brenda. I apologise. We'll answer it. Who have we got here? All right, now, Sunburst. Okay, for those that don't know, if I've got a Sunburst around here, I should have, but I bet you I haven't. Okay, Sunburst is marquetry where you have got a circle or an oval or some shape, and there are rays coming out from the centre, starting small and coming to the big. That's called a sunburst. And the way I used to make them, let me just remove my coffee and finish them off, was quite involved, extremely involved in fact. And then it occurred to me, there's got to be an easier way of doing it. So I'll quickly show you what I used to do, and then I'll show you what I do. I don't know if it's in this one. Let me. Well, isn't that amazing? I don't know how many hundred of them I've done. What's that one there? Oh, nope. That's an Escher one. But, all right, I'll do it this way. Is there one? I'm just looking to see if I've got one floating around. Doesn't appear so. That's all right. What's that one up there? No. All right. So what I used to do, would be get, you can find a piece of paper now, we're going well here. Yeah, there's there. I'd get whatever it is that I wanted to make. So I wanted to put an oval in this box here. So I would draw the oval a bit more accurately than that. And then I would divide it up into however many flames I wanted. And then I would take that and copy it onto some tracing paper and then put that on to the veneer and put a piece of carbon paper underneath the tracing paper, and then each of these segments I would cut out individually and then put them together. And then when I got thinking about it, I thought the shape doesn't matter, so it'd be a lot easier if I did it from a circle or a square. It really doesn't matter. So that's what I decided to do. So I drew one up. No, we'll do one from scratch. There you go, then you can see. Let's find a blank bit of paper. Oh dear, oh dear. Isn't it marvellous? You can never find anything when you want it. There you go, there's a blank piece of paper. Oh, this'll do. Let's pick any size. What you need is a compass and a pair of dividers if you've got them. Here we go, a pair of dividers here. Oh. So we draw a circle first. Whatever size you want. So if you're going to do, for example, if you're going to do an oval, work out what the length of the oval is. It doesn't matter about the width or anything like that, but you want the length of the oval. So if I want an oval, it's going to be that big. Okay, we draw a circle. That big. And the oval is going to be from there to there. Up here, I don't care, but that's the length I want for the oval, so I draw the circle to that length. I've decided I'm going to have 12 portions in the Sunburst. So put that there, and then pick anywhere on the circle, it doesn't matter. Divide it into 6. It does help if you're using a hard lead, because that way you're going to get a finer line and your compounding error isn't going to be as great. Now, divide in between those two sections. This is where you need a divider. So place that there. That's pretty close to 70. So half of 70 is 35. I can get this divider out. Don't need a compressor. Now if you can't, it might be 67, and if it's too hard to work that out, just get a pair of dividers and see how close you are. That's pretty darn close, I think. Come in just a smidgen. No, that's a little bit too much. I hate those measurements that if you can see the instrument move, you've gone too far. That can go there to there. Okay, so that's pretty close to halfway where I am there. So leave that mark there. Now divide, put your point of the compass in that hole and do exactly the same as you did before. Be as accurate as you can. In fact, you don't even have to do all of this. But I like doing it just to make sure that I'm accurate. Then put your pencil on the point where the compass point has gone in. Draw a diameter. We just missed that middle there. This is where you've got to be really accurate. Okay. And then we'll do this one to that one. It's got to pass through there. So you can see where I'm going with this. Whoops. Try and get it as accurate as you can. Put your pencil on the dot and then move your ruler up to it. Pencil on the dot, ruler up to it. Same as any marking really. Okay. So that's divided, whoops, that's divided into 12. Now you can see where I'm going with this. If I wanted, this one's slightly wrong size, but if I wanted to have an oval, I just place the oval on the circle when I've finished and I can cut it out and I will have that shape. And all it means is you've just got to cut one shape. This is the bit it blew me away. So what I've got here is, it's a piece of, what do they call it? Polycarbonate. You buy it from hardware shops. It's only about 1 mil thick. And I use it actually in bee boxes. But for this exercise, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a template of a segment. So I put that right up on the edge. I might just get a light to make sure I don't get any shadow. That can go there. So the straight edge of the polycarbonate is on one of these diameter lines going through. Now with a ruler, so I've said many times before, with a little bit of 240 wet and dry on it, place that on the line next to it so that it's right on the line. And then with a knife, I don't want to ruin that knife, so I'll use this one. Just score down that line there. With this polycarbonate, what I've done, it would be enough for me actually to break that, just bend it like that. Okay. Now I've got a segment that will fit in there. And guess what? That segment is the same as all the other segments. So instead of making different pieces to fit into the oval shape that I've got, I've now got one segment that will make a circle. Once I've got that circle, it doesn't matter what shape I want. I can put it oval, I could put a parallelogram in there, I could put a rectangle in there. It doesn't matter. So with this, and the other reason I like polycarbonate is, you will see in a moment, when I start cutting the veneer, I can line up the lines of the veneer so I get straight lines. Because when you have a starburst, you have all these lines radiating out from the middle, so you want them to actually be as straight as possible when they're going in to the segment. So having clear polycarbonate, I can now hold that over the top and go, okay, I'll have that bit or this bit or whatever. So here goes. That's a little off-putting because it's a weird shape. So if that concerns you at all, just cut it off. And I do understand that looks weird, so I'm just going to cut that off. So it gives me a shape that doesn't make me think everything's uneven. Break it. I think Big Boss Warehouse or whatever, I it's about $40 a square metre or something or other. I buy 5 metre rolls of it, but you know, you go to, I don't go to a Perspex place, they might give you a piece. You don't need much. Okay, so now we've got a shape that possibly is easier to figure out. Find out which is pencil cedar, bend it, find out which is the upside, which is the downside. That is bending easier that way, so this is the downside. So if you put pencil down there, when you're picking the bits up, you'll know which part glue down and which go up. If not, what you do, you get a change in chatoyance, which means when the light hits the box, if you've got an upside and a downside, one's going to be shiny and the other's not, and it sticks out. It's not the best look. So what we're going to do now is start cutting some of these out. And all I want to do is get the grain running up the middle. I said I was going to use this knife, and I shall. I might go there, I might go there, there. Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. And you can just orientate to how you want it to look. And as I've said before with veneer, stroke it. Don't try and cut it in one pass. Gently just stroke it. And you'll hear when it's through. Whoops. Moved a little bit. Now, there's every chance sometimes it will move and your cut won't be 100%, but don't let that faze you, because when you come to putting it together, it's really not that critical, because you're going to have to make some adjustments anyway. Seldom have I ever seen a sunburst that didn't have issues. In fact, if you have a look, especially the pre-made ones, okay, there's our first bit, especially the pre-made ones, they've got a dot in the middle, and the reason for that dot is to cover up the fact that they didn't get it meeting nicely in the middle. What I want to do here is we'll make a seashell and put the seashell in the middle of it, and that way it doesn't matter if they don't meet precisely in the middle, because you're actually using the starburst as the background to the shell. And whoops, my blue there, I should turn it around. That's better. There we go. Try, I mean, the temptation is, I've got this one here, I can put it in that way, and I'm saving veneer. That's true, you are saving veneer, but what you're also doing is changing the chatoyance, because the grain, as we're cutting them here, the grain's running that way. If you cut it this way, the grain's running the opposite way. What that'll do is, can you hear me chooks going off in the back here? What that'll do is, when the reflection hits it, or the chatoyance, again, you're going to get it going dull. So you want them all cut in the same direction and from the same side of the veneer. Now I'm going to do this all in real time. so there are no shortcuts. What you can do if you want to get a run on with it, you can, when you've done 3 like I've done now, you could start gluing them together. We might wait until we've done 6 and then we can glue those, and then whilst we're doing the next 6, the first 6 can be drying. Okay, so there's 3. I think I don't want any wide grain in there. I'll just stick with the narrow grain. I tell you, this knife is very nice. Turn it. Don't try and rush it. As I've said many times before, if you're in a bad mood, you won't be able to do marquetry. But by the same token, if you start doing marquetry, you'll find your mood will change, because it's so consuming and you're so focused on what it is you're doing, you just tend to chill out. What have we got there? Oh, okay, now we'll take a bit of this. It's all right, I'm talking to myself. It's beautiful that you can see what you're actually cutting, so you can see the colour. The other thing I like about this process is, as opposed to the other way I used to do it, you're dealing with human error, or as a friend of mine calls it, organic interface, and thickness of pencil lines. And if you're using carbon paper, you can get a bleed effect, which gives you an even thicker line than your pencil. So depending on how you're cutting, your triangles will vary, because if you cut on the outside of the line, they're going to be fatter. If you cut on the inside of the line, they're going to be thinner. And then if you've got a combination of some that have been cut on the inside, some that have been cut on the outside, you end up with some inaccuracies. That's why I said don't sweat about it. I'll show you how to put them together, and it doesn't matter if there are a couple of inaccuracies happening. And that's the thing, I suppose. If you're using a machine, you don't get them, but that's why I like handwork, because you get that human input, touch, handmade look. You can tell I'm concentrating, can't you? There we go. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. What we'll do, glue those together, and then we'll cut another 6 out. Oh, no, we won't. We'll put this on first. We'll do, because I think I might even burn these. Where's my lighter? This is just an ordinary gas stove, and what I've got in here is just sand. That's river sand, If you've got budgerigar or aquariums, the sand you put in the bottom of their cage is what I use. I used to use black rutile, and then someone told me it was radioactive. I stopped using it. But that'll heat up, so I forgot about doing that. My fault, I'm remiss, I apologise. I was going to join those, but I want to burn them. So we'll put some shadowing on there. Again, keeping with the direction we're going. I don't know if I'll get one out of here or will I? Oh, yeah, I should. Ba-dum. Oh, there you go, Trevor. They're in stock. Excellent. No, don't like that bit. So there you go. You heard it from Trevor. They're in stock. G'day, Randy. Thanks for dropping in. Weather's getting cooler here, so it should be no more outside work this year. Oh, opposite here, mate. It's starting to warm up. In fact, I don't think we've had a spring. Have you seen a semblance of spring, Trevor? I think it just sort of went winter, summer. Someone said to me yesterday, a bit like the Northern Territory. We got hot, we got cold, we got no in between. Don't rush it. I honestly think out of everything, and I've said this many times, any type of woodwork, marquetry is my favourite. Perhaps I should do more of it. I've got a heap more to do. But that's for another time. Okay, that's getting a bit light now. I don't want that, so I'll cut a bit more off. There we go. Yeah. How many have we got? 3, 6. Again, I'll just cut this here. And that's the downside. You bend it, it'll bend one way easily and one way a bit more resistant. So the side that's up that bends easily, that's the side that you're going to glue down. And I'm just going to make sure I'm getting this going the right way too. Okay. What I'm trying to achieve is I want where this point is here, where it goes to a point, I'm trying to get a growth line coming out exactly on that point, which just helps with the illusion. Turn it. And this way. The temptation is to push down hard when it gets a little bit hard to cut, but resist the temptation. Resist it. I don't think this one, that one doesn't feel as if it's a good one, but we'll see. So we've got 3, 6, 9, 3 more to go. I'll just see if this is hot enough. So what I want to do is, when you're burning this, what you're actually looking for is to put a shadow on it. Putting this in. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing, I'm sorry. I'm just seeing if this is hot enough yet. It's getting there. No, not quite there. Put a bit more heat in it. I reckon by the time I finish doing these other 3, we'll be good to go. So any, when you're doing these, as I said before, any veneer that's got nice defined straight lines make really good starbursts. Zebrano's good, or zebra wood. Some black beans are good. Cherry is another good one. Walnut's a good one. Anything with nice straight lines. Silver ash. That's nice. Turn that up. Hoop pine. I've got some hoop pine down there we'll do the seashell out of. You don't need a gas stove. I've seen people use electric hot plates to good effect as well. It's just that in my particular case, I've been using gas for over 30 years and it's sort of a habit. I have seen people use soldering irons, or say even that Robert Sorby Pyrography machine would most likely do the job, but I find I've got much more control over the amount of burn if I'm actually putting the timber in the sand myself, rather than relying on an electrical element. Okay, one more. One more and we're good to go. Whoops. Could have done without that. There we go. And believe you me, this method I'm now employing is so much quicker, neater and tidier than the way I used to do it. All right, so there we go. We've got 12 pieces. And providing we have them all pencil side down, we're going to be okay. Let me just see how we go on here. Okay, let's give me a nice burn now. You can see there, it's just getting a bit of shading on it. That's what I'm looking for. Whenever you're doing this too, make sure that you get a darker burn than you actually want in the end result. The reason being, and don't put this down on a rubber mat because it'll burn it. The reason you want it darker is because you're going to actually sand it off when you're flattening this design down, and it will take some of the darkness out. So if you have it exactly the shade you want and then you put it together, by the time you finished it to put a finish on, you'll find that it's not as dark as you wanted it. So bear that in mind. Okay. The thing is, when you're shading, you've got to work out which direction the sun's going to come from, and then where the shadow will be coming. I would say, okay, we're looking, sun's coming this way, so the shadow is going to be on this side. So that means when I shadow this, I'm going to shadow this side here. So when this one butts up to it, this one looks as if it's casting a shadow over this one. So we'll put all these the same way. It's interesting. I've never used aromatic cedar before in Marquetry. Now, if you look at that, I've got one with the pencil line poking up. So make sure they're all facing the same way. And we're going to do the bottom edge of all of them. Okie dokie, let's go. What I use is a spoon, what did I say about them being hot? The longer the spoon, the less likely you are to burn yourself. You can, I'll show you various ways you can hold it. Let's keep this in here for the moment. Yeah, okay, that's really cooking. If you look how black that is now, that's good. And the reason for the spoon is you can pick the spoon up and then dunk this into the spoon, so you can actually get much more of a controlled burn rather than putting it straight into the sand. And you can control the depth. Okay. So that black mark, that's going to be the shadow. So I'll do that to all of them. So I'm going to try something, which I don't normally do. When you do what I just did then, you run the risk of burning the tip, and it'll curl over as that one that's warm, as that one has there. But in this case, it really doesn't matter because we're going to put something over the top of that. So in this instance, I might not use a spoon, but what I am doing is leveling off the top of that sand. So I can put that in and it's going to go to the same depth, but keep pulling it out and looking at it. If I wasn't pushed for time, I wouldn't be doing this. But you got to do what you got to do. Okay. Now, these are the tweezers I prefer. They're reverse tweezers. So when I squeeze them, they open. When I let them go, they close. The reason I prefer those to this type is if you've got a lot to do, by the time you've done a few, this muscle down here really starts to hurt. The other thing a friend of mine put me onto, he was a theatre nurse, are these, they do have a name, clamps, surgical clamps, and they work fine too. You just put that and clip it. So whatever works best for you, or whatever you got hold of. Okay, let's go. I might do 3, and then we'll glue them together, and then we'll glue another 3. So I'm going to use a combination here because the back is burning a lot quicker than the rest of it. And yes, it does get very warm, and you don't want that to happen. The reason that happened is my flame is actually coming outside of that tin. But this is longer than what we want, so that's fine. Okay, we might glue those together. And says he, hopefully. Where did my sticky tape go? Wait one. Dum, ba-dum, bum. Don't tell me we put it up in the other shed. That's not like me. There you go, there's something. Oh. So what I've got here is just ordinary sellotape, or sticky tape, or whatever you want to call it. Put a couple of strips of it down. And cut them into little squares. With this one I'm just going to cut straight up the middle and then down. So I've got little squares of sticky tape. Sutures, if you like. So that's what I've got, just that little square there. And what we'll do is get some glue, which I had here 2 seconds ago. There it is. Bit of scrap timber. And what I'm going to do is glue these up. So let's put that on there, and that can go there. Just with your knife, what did I say about plastic mat? And then just spread it right along that edge. You don't need much at all. I'll just get a bit of baking paper, so like that. Gum everything up. Put that one there. Whoops, light's gone out. Wait a minute. I don't know what the go is with this, but it keeps going out on me. There you go. For a guy that doesn't smoke, my son came home the other day and he said, I love it when I come home, Dad, because you're the only guy I know that doesn't smoke that always has a lighter. It's good to have a lighter. You never know when you need it. All right. So let's put that on to there like that. And pick up one of these little sticky tape tabs. There you go. One more on there. And that's the first quarter done. Just bear in mind that you keep the pencil side down. Pull it in so it's nice and tight. Oops. And these are great sunbursts. You can put them into chair backs, boxes, larger ones go nicely into tables. There's all sorts of things you can do with them. Okay, so it's one lot done. Let's go again. Let me have a chat first. I know I've been consumed, haven't I? Where's my mouse gone? There it is. Oh dear, where are we? How far back am I? I'm only 20 minutes behind. The weather's getting cold. Remember that one? Hello, Anthony. How are you? Thanks for joining. Nathaniel. Yeah, I know. It's I will be getting back, but we're just doing a lot of different things at the moment, Nathaniel. But thank you for missing me. That's nice. When those knives came in, they had a lot of moray knives. They sold out of them cheap, so I got yeah, nothing wrong with the moray knives either. They are nice. What colour is your finger after burning it? About the same, a bit pinker than it was. Oh, Trevor, you've been let loose. All right, let's go. Whoops. Where's the spoon? And the thing is with this, different timbers burn at different rates. This would be a little bit slower, I think, than others. Walnut, for example, burns really, really quickly. Silver ash does, or you notice it a lot quicker. Pine burns fairly easily. So if you're going to do it, just experiment with some scraps of the timber you're using before you actually dive straight in the deep end. And I really do wish I'd made a longer handle spoon, but I've had this spoon for so long. I've been using this spoon for nearly 40 years, I think. Okay, another one. There's something about doing it live. I was sort of thinking, oh look, I could do this, and this is how you do one. Now I've done 12, but I also think it's important that people see just how long it takes. And if I'm doing it live, invariably I stuff something up, and that's not a bad thing either. Look at that, my spoon's caught fire now. La da da dum. You don't use one of Mum's best spoons, because you could be in trouble. And as I've said before, yes, it does get warm. My fingers are feeling the heat somewhat, but I daren't turn it down because for whatever reason it keeps, as soon as I turn it down, it goes off. And it's not much fun trying to do this if you haven't got any heat. Okay, last three. Yeah. Then what we'll do, we'll join these together, then we'll do the seashell. And then when the seashell's drying, we'll actually put the oval together. And when we've done that, the seashell should be dry. We won't, I won't inlay it, but we can lay it over the top so you can see how it goes. Okay, one more. Lucky last. Nearly there. That'll do. I'm going to leave that on. I'm just going to put this in the bucket so I don't burn myself with it. There you go. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. I'm going to leave that on because we're going to burn the shell as well. Oh. No, I'll turn that off for the moment, I think. These are great things if you're doing marquetry too, if you can get hold of, it's an old icing cake knife. They're just great for slipping under glued up stuff. Steve was wondering if you got my email with the pictures of my daughter's toolbox. I will double check, Chad. As I said to Brenda earlier on, we've had a lot of changes going on here, and I know I've had some emails and I haven't answered them, but please, if you could, please send it through again, and I'll promise to get back to you early. I sort of vaguely remember an email, but yeah, things are just a bit chaotic here at the moment. So if you could, Chad, please send it through again. If you send it through today, I will answer it by tonight. There you go. There we go. There you go. And again, I've used all that sticky tape up, so cut through there. Dump, 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 dump. Ba-da-ba-dum. Whoops. Ah. Don't do this to me. There you go. Okay. Let's go in here so you know I'm still here, really. A bit more glue. You only need just a little bit. Stuff I'm using at the moment is Type Bond Original. And the reason I'm using that one is that it goes off pretty quick. Sort of like a quick set. So when I'm gluing these up, I'm not wasting time waiting for glue to dry. Get some more up. I can't stress it enough, this is really a nice knife. Possibly it wasn't designed for this. But hey, doesn't matter if it does the job. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3. Whoops, that's a bit fragile. Might, I don't know. Might get away with it. We'll have a look, see. And don't get too precious about it. If you're doing this and you break one, well, just cut another one. You know, you don't have to be locked in, oh, I've got to use the ones I've already made. You might have to make another couple. It's the nature of the craft. Or the other thing is, just on the off chance, make a few more. And hopefully you won't need them. That's been my experience. If I make something and cut a few extras, I never need a few extras. But if that's what I was afraid would happen. But if I don't cut a few extras, that's when I need them. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. See that bit burnt and broke off? So do that to it. And make another one. It's much, much quicker, it's been my experience, to make another one rather than try and fix the one that you just broke. There we go. That hopefully will do it. So we've got to do that, we'll do this, we'll do that. I'll put this in here. And hopefully it won't take too much to... Oh, once that's heating up, what we'll do is actually join these together. So let me just clean that knife. I know how I'll clean it. There we go. Just give it a bit of a lick on the tornic wheel. Or if you haven't got one of those, make yourself up or buy a strop, and then you can just clean the blade on a piece of leather like I'm doing there, and you'll find it will bring the edge up nicely. Okay, whilst that's heating, let's start gluing this up. Doesn't matter where we start. Start with those two. Same. I cleaned all the glue off, now I'm using it again. Push that onto there. Clamp her up. Bit more sticky tape. Okay, now we've got 1/2. Suppose we can glue these together. No, we'll put this in here first. See if it's hot enough. Okay, whilst we're waiting for that to heat up, we'll have a go at doing a shell. So you can go online, and look up hand-drawn seashells, and there will be thousands of them. Pick one of those, or if you like, draw one yourself. I'll show you how to draw a shell, and I'll show you how to draw a leaf. Both really, really easy. Leaves I like with a bit of a fold in them, and that can give you an interesting effect when you're doing marquetry, because the back of the leaf is generally lighter than the front of the leaf, so you use different veneers for that. But okay, let's do a seashell first. I'll just do a real basic one with, say, 4 bits. So they sort of come down there like that. A bit of pencil. That one's a bit, don't like that pencil, but anyway. And then the seashell generally steps down and goes to another bit. Like that, and then we've got the mouth of the shell there, and then from there we can go down like that. The ordinary seashell, let's try another one. I think that one's better. I like that one better. Okay, we'll use this one here. If you want to draw a leaf, just draw a line, any line you like, and then you can come back this way to there, and then if you draw, that could be a leaf by itself, just like that, and then this part here, you bring this in, and all of a sudden you've got a leaf there. There you go. That way you've got an easy leaf, and you've got a curl over bit here. So whatever colour you do this curled over bit of the leaf, you do in a lighter colour. With, what are we going to use? This one. If you look at the striations on a shell, they're generally going down this way, but a lot of them have a pattern running that way. So what I've looked for is a piece of veneer that I can get the grains, which will be the striations of the shell, or the grain of the shell going this way, but I've got a little bit of fiddleback, so it gives it some definition or pattern on the back. So this one should be done, and then we'll cut that one out. Let me just do this one. But leaves are so easy to draw, and don't get hung up on it. If you can't do it to start with, just keep on trying. It doesn't matter how many goes you have a go, just the main thing is you're having a go, I suppose. That's burning the tips of my fingers like you wouldn't believe. Where's the spoon? Now watch that. Okay. I'll turn that off for a tick. And come back to this one, and glue this one up. Boom, 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 boom. Ba-da-bum. There you go. Get the tips. You'll find if you can get the tips as close to meeting as possible, the rest of the pieces should come together okay. Siren's going off. It's got to have the light in the right space so I can see the tape shining. There you go. All right, so now we can join these two pieces together. Told you that glue dried quickly. The old Brill cream ad, a little dab will do you. That's all you need. Okay, so now we have two halves. There's every chance they won't line up, because in all the years I've been doing this, I've never seen them line up once perfectly. So, and as you can see, that doesn't. It's got a slight gap in it. So what you do is you overlap them. Or, what we can do is put a straight edge across. And cut them down so they're straight. Take your time cutting it. Can't stress that enough. Don't force it. Now we've got one straight edge there. Do the same to this one. So get that corner to that corner. Or where that corner is meant to be, I've lost it in a fire somewhere. going to be pretty close, I think. And don't forget we're putting something in the middle of this. Whoops, I messed that up. So if it doesn't exactly meet in the middle, it doesn't matter, because we're going to have something in the middle, and we'd be cutting the middle out anyway to put the inlay in. Now if you join those two together, you don't have a gap. A bit of glue on there. And, whoops, old habits, I didn't use the new knife, I used the old knife. Those together, line them up best as you can. Then, more sticky tape. You can hold that all down or press it down, but basically, there's your starburst, and you can now put whatever shape, if you, well, there you go. You want an oval shape, you just put the oval over the top and you can cut the oval shape. It's another oval one, I think it's going to be too big, but if you cut around there, there's your starburst in the shape that, get there you go, in the shape that you wanted. And you've done it without having to mess around getting fiddly bits and small angles and what have you. And I find that is the easiest way to do a starburst. Okay, let's do the shell. Now, where's a bit of tracing paper if I can find it? If I can't find tracing paper, I'll just use baking paper. It's all good. No, we'll just use a bit of baking paper. That will do. Oh, this is what I'm going to use for the shell. And as you can see, it's hoop pine, nothing super special, but it does have, I don't know if you can just see it there, it just has a nice little bit of curly grain in it, and that's what I want to use to make the shell out of. So bend it that way, this is the back side, put that down. And even though I'm just using a little bit, I will do this to the entire sheet. Then I know at any time that is the back. Okie dokie. So, now. Trace around the shell. as I said, go on the internet. If it's not copywritten or anything and you can use it, domain commons or whatever, use one of their designs. The other thing I find is really, really great for Marquetry is either stained glass window designs. You can maybe have a look at those in the library and get some ideas. Or applique books. Susie's got a lot of applique books and there's some great ideas in there. So a little bit of, I use pencil carbon paper because I think it gives me a nicer line to follow than pen carbon paper. And you can use a pencil, or you can make something like this up, which is called a stylus. And it's basically a darning needle, but it's a lot finer than a pencil. So I've got a much, I thought I was there. It's a stylus and it's much finer than a pencil. So when I'm cutting to the point of that needle there, not the thickness of the pencil there. So what I want to do is find out, okay, so I might just bring this up there a bit more. There you go, that looks nicer. If I've got a rubber there, I'll rub that bit out. There you go. So I'm looking at the direction the grain's going. I'm going to put it on the timber. The grain's running this way, but I've got this beautiful motley sort of effect there. So the first bit I'm going to cut out is the front of the shell, and I'll use the stylus. To mark that. Try not to do what I did and go over lines twice, but that's what we've got to cut out. So just gently follow the shape that you've drawn. And gently cut that out. And look, if you miss the design a little bit or it changes as you're cutting, that's fine. You just change your design on the hop. Take your time cutting it, don't rush it. It's going to take as long as it's going to take. Okay, that's the first bit. The second bit. Line up your design. Find a nice piece that you want. Pop it over there. This time I'll use a pencil. And you'll see the difference. Actually, I'll do half pencil and half stylus. That way you can see the difference in the thickness of the line. See the really thick line's the pencil, the thin line is the stylus. I'm actually going to this knife now only because I've got some small stuff to cut, and I'm just finding that doesn't cut it. But it wasn't designed as a marquetry knife, but you could definitely use it as one. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to light this fire again, because we'll be burning again very soon. And I'll be with you in the chat room. I'll just cut this bit out. There we go. That's the second bit, so that goes like that. Goes there. A little bit out on that, but I'll show you how we can fix that shortly. And now the last bit, which is, oh, it's not the last bit, it's the last bit for the shell, and we've got to get something dark for the inside, which we'll be able to get it out of this too, I think. There we go. This cuts quite nicely, this stuff. Doesn't matter, it broke out, but it broke out on the right side to break out. All right. That's a bit where we're up to, I think. So the top, see how close we are. Okay, now what we've got to do is put something dark in here just for the mouth. And what I thought, because this is a bit darker here, we might actually use this bit for the mouth. So I'll just put that over the darkest spot. I really want that bit there. Okay. Cut this bit out. I'm sorry if I'm quiet this stream. I have to concentrate. Okie dokie. Let's see how this all looks. Got an adjustment to make there somewhere, I think. Now, if you want these to fit really, really snugly together, here's the chance you have of fitting them exactly how you want them. And what you do is you line it up how you perceive it should look, and then with the sticky tape, this is wider stuff I think, join it all together. And let me change that around. Now that's all joined. So what you can now do is go around the outside of the one that's on top, because I've overlaid those. That is on that and that's over the top of that. So I'll use this as a guide on the outside and very gently go around that edge. What you can do, if you've got access to carving chisels, you can actually cheat and use the radii of the carving chisel to do the same job as I'm doing here. Whoops, that just broke, which we didn't want. Okay. So what we'll do there is we'll just glue that up. I just pull the end out. Of that there, you can just see it just broke. A little bit of glue. Try and keep it intact if you can. Did a good job there. I can't even buy more broken now. It was around there somewhere. So we'll just leave that for a little bit. Come around and do this one. Learn from the last mistake. I'll cut this end first. Okay, now I can feel them through. I'll come around. There you go. Gently does. I mean, I am tempted to push hard, but I know if I do, the time I think I'm going to save is going to be spent fixing it. Now that should come away quite nicely. And then with the mouth, a little bit to cut away there. Let's see if I can move this around. There we go. Whoops. I could actually go a bit darker, but I won't, because this is what we started out with. So this is what we'll finish with. Okay. So now that is a perfect fit in there. And everything else, you can see the bits that I've had to cut away there, but everything else now fits very, very snugly. And take the sticky tape off. Be careful you don't break anything like I just did then, but it's okay. Not having a good run. But these things happen. Now put that back in to there. Put the sticky tape on it for a little bit. It shouldn't take too long. All right. Okay. So now if you can remember the direction that the sunburst came in, we said we're going to have the sun coming from this side going along, so therefore this one here will create the shadow onto the other one. This one will create the shadow here. We've got to continue with that theme because it looks ridiculous if you've got something and the shading's all on one side and then you've got something inlaid in the middle and the shading's on the opposite side. So with this, bearing that in mind, the sun's coming down, where are we, on this shell this way, which means this part of the shell here will cast a shadow on the inside of the middle bit and the inside of this bit and the inside of the mouth. So they're the pieces that we've got to put the shading on. Find my trusty pliers. Now this will burn at a different rate to the other one we were using. And from memory it burns a bit slower. No, it doesn't, it burns a bit quicker. Well, much quicker. It's only under for a few seconds and you can see the colour change already. So that's why it's important to check your timber before you, got the shakes here, before you start burning. Okie dokie. So what we can do is glue that, the mouth, into there. A little bit of glue on there. Slide the mouth up. Make it sit nicely. Little suture. Sticky tape, I've got many left. There we go. Now, I'm not sure if this one's dried or not. Let me see. I don't think that's dry where it broke, but we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. Ah! So what happens when you try and rush things, folks? Alright, now let's take this one off here. And I just want to shadow this bit here, so with the sticky tape on, we'll give it a go. Yeah, you never know. You gotta love live TV. Oh, I think we might have dodged a bullet on that one. The sticky tape didn't, it's all shriveled up. Okay. I promise I'll get into the chat room soon. There you go. It's another reason I like that Woodfast Tight Bond Original. It does glue quite nice and fast. So if you're ever doing a stream and things break, use Tight Bond Original. Fix the mistakes quicker. Okay. That one can go there. And the lucky last bit. So this piece here, make sure you get the right orientation, and then we've got to just burn this edge here. So it's important before you start doing any burning, excuse me, that you check the orientation of the piece, because there's nothing worse than coming to the end of a job and shading the wrong part. It's very disappointing. And here we go. And we'll pop that there. I think we might be just have a little issue there. That's it. Okay. So, now what you can do is you've got your shell, got your starburst, and you can put the starburst or the shell in the middle of the starburst, and then depending, well, let's just glue it on there, shall we? Depending on what, here you go, what shape you want, you can now, what is that? If you wanted to, you could cut an oval out, and there would be a shell. It's really hard looking at the screen doing this. A shell in an oval, and there's other things you can do. At the end, you can scallop the outside of the sunburst. You can make that into a square, you can make it into a rectangle, you could leave it as a circle, whatever you want to do. So there you go. Well, I hope you got something out of that. Very, very simple easy marquetry. But as you can tell, we maybe started at about 10:15, so yeah, hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. But you've got something that's really unique. It's not like the bought ones that you buy that are actually done with a stamp and stamped out. It's an interesting process, and I will at a future date put this into a box lid or something. And I'm just looking, I don't know if you can actually let's try this camera over here. I don't know if you can, is it going to focus? We'll get it to focus. Where is it? There you go. The fiddle back in the shell, you can just see it coming through a little bit. But if that's polished up, you'd really notice that. And it's something creative, it's something you've done yourself, it's something individual. And it's a new skill you've learned. Anyway, let me have a chat. I haven't spoken for so long, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's it. Nothing. It's all good. I'm up to date with everything. Well, that was it. I hope you enjoyed that. And again, according to Trav, yes, these knives are now in stock Stryi, it's Carbatec. And for my money, I think they're absolutely beautiful. This is my favourite, but as I've said before, I'm not a spoon carver. If you're into spoon carving, they do have all the other beautiful knives in there, and it's a beautiful steel. It's polished. It's very, very nice. They've also got a range of veneers, so if you want them, they've got pencil cedar, but I know they've got a lot of other veneers in there. So if something you want to do, remember, a starburst gets something with a nice straight grain but a defined grain. Doesn't matter if it's the same colour or if it's variegated. And if you can find something with a little bit of fiddleback in it or a little bit of pizzazz, if you like, grab that, because it's amazing what you can do with just very fine bits. I've got some bird's eye maple, and I know I've done some birds. I think I've got 55 hummingbirds I've got to do for a project for myself. And what I use a lot of the times for the eye of the bird is one of the bird's eye out of bird's eye maple, so keep your eye out for that. Getting back to carving, there's a, where did we put it? That little, great little idea. Okay, this is a bit rough, it needs a little bit more doing to it, but if you just want a project, this is a bit of fun and somebody might appreciate, especially if they read paperbacks. Make a little book buddy up, piece of timber, find out a hole of the size for their thumb, and you can sit there like that and it holds the book open without keep on flopping on you. So that's a bit of fun. Again, I use the Stryi knife with that, but you could use an ordinary pocket knife, you could use a Mora, you could use a file. What other ones are? Flexi cut, any knife like that will do. I don't think I need that seashell anymore. But if you want to try your hand at marquetry, do some freehand drawing. Very, very simple stuff, as I showed you how to make a leaf, which is great. Shells are pretty easy to do. And what it makes you do is it makes you look at nature, which I think in itself is quite cathartic and soothing, but it gives you inspiration for other bits of woodworking, you know, you might have down the track. Those sunbursts, as I said before, backs of chairs, in tables, serving trays, boxes, not benches, chests, anything like that, they really do lift your work. Just a word of caution, if you're dealing with plywood and you're using a veneer, the veneer, where possible, has to be at 90 degrees to the grain of the plywood. So in this case, if you look at this, a bit of pencil, where's a pencil? If you look at this plywood here, you can see the grains running in that direction, or that direction, doesn't matter. So if I was laying plywood down, I would make sure the plywood went in that direction, not to whatever the plywood is. And you've got to do the same to the back. That doesn't mean to say if you put an intricate design in the front, do the same in the back. No, but it means if you're putting plywood on the front, you've got to put plywood on the back. That way it maintains the integrity of the ply and it won't cup, twist, warp or do horrible things. However, if you're doing it into, you might be doing a chair back, and the chair back, the back's, the headrest at the back, or one of the splats even, you've got to go parallel to the grain. So if it's a chair back, make sure the veneer is running that way. If it's a splat at the back of the chair, make sure the veneer grain is running that way. Because if not, when you get movement in the timber, and it will shrink and expand, it can, and I've seen it, crack the veneer or pop the veneer motif out. So just something to be a little bit mindful of. Well, I think that's about it. Just got a pint sauce. Must be getting ready for the game. On you, Trev. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a tough game. I don't know. I'd like the Rabbitohs to win, but Penrith have worked pretty hard all year, so who knows. Thanks, Randy. Yeah, look, thanks, Chad. Mate, send me that email, please, and I'll get back to you. And I do apologise, but as I said, things have been a bit chaotic here. That's just about it. I can't think of anything else. If you've got any questions, happy to answer them all. If not, this is Steve for Carbatec, the wonderful world of woodworking with Carbatec, pulling the shed door and saying, remember to keep it sharp, but more importantly, keep it safe. Look after yourself and become creative. It's amazing what it'll do to your mood once you start making something or being creative. Doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's woodwork. It doesn't have to be woodwork. It could be painting, it could be drawing, it could be cooking, it could be gardening. But I found the trick to good mental health is keep the mind stimulated. And creativity does it. So, until we meet again, stay well, look after yourself, stay creative. Bye for now. See, now, I would normally cut off, but I don't know, because if I do, I might kill the stream.